Welcome to Minnesota is Rust. Back on our Rusty Deals, number 2. In front of us today we have a 1991 Chevrolet S10.
You know, it's it's considered a truck. So, oh
Not
yeah.
not a big truck, but a truck nonetheless.
You know, just looking at the main cover picture, you see it's got some wrinkled fenders, some crunched hood and such, a really bent bumper, as well as it's got some flat toe brackets bolted right onto the front bumper, so you know it's got to be good. And then some weird aftermarket wheels. It's only a two-wheel drive, so
It is possible they're a factory, but they look odd. I will agree with that. The specs here, we'll go on to the next picture. The specs here indicate this is a mighty 2.8 V6, which you could get a 4.3 back then, or I believe a 2.5 Iron Duke was still available. I don't remember exactly when they went to a 2.2 4-cylinder, but it is a 5-speed manual rear-wheel drive. So that's positive there.
one quick thing is it's got some professional decals on it.
You know, VP Racing Fuel, this sticker not only gives 10 extra horsepower, but it gives 10 extra octane to any gas that you dump inside this absolute unit right here. Minnesota's rust, of course, so we've got a little of the rusty crusties here across the bottom there. The damage indicated was primarily front end damage, which we saw in the first picture, and then rear end damage was considered secondary. So I don't see a ton in the back here. We'll scroll down to the next picture we've got here.
It appears to just have a little bit on the rear tailgate, as well as maybe a slight hit in the rear bumper. It looks kind of folded downwards a tiny bit in the passenger side.
I see the driver's side's pretty square. Passenger side has a little whoop, a little whoop-de-doo, a little tilt uppingness there. So maybe we got something going on there. Remember, the question we need to answer here is, would you rather have this rust away in your backyard or rust away in someone else's backyard? That is the important question here. This has not gone to auction yet, and there's no bids on it. The estimated retail value is $3,569 USD, United States dollars, right there. So, oh, you know what? We know this is a serious contender here because we have the aftermarket LED headlight. There's at least one left, so that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's probably the most important thing of the whole vehicle. And you know, it doesn't look that horrible, but leading to how far back that front bumper is pushed, and that one front toe bracket looks like it's been, because that they built that like almost right where the frame would be, so that part kind of looks pushed back too. So that hints to maybe some further damages.
It does look interesting that the passenger side bumper is tilted up and the driver's side bumper is tilted down. So I'm curious to see what was going on here. You see the passenger side fender is pushed down too. Here we get a nice shot of straight on, and you kind of wonder what was going on. We see a hit on both the left side and the right side here, but I think what where we see is that there's some kind of frame damage going on here. When you see one bracket, which would bolt to the front of the frame horn, in my opinion, is significantly higher than the other one. And no doubt this was towed behind a motorhome of some kind. You have the plug-in for lights right there too. So, you know, something serious is going on here. But, you know, maybe with some tweakage and getting a chance to look and see what else we got going on here, maybe it is worth having it rust away in our backyard. Not completely sure yet, though.
So you can see that it looks like it was probably repainted at some point in time, because I see some red peeking through right underneath the fender, the driver's side fender. You get a good look right from the back, and it doesn't look bad by any means. It's got some straw or grass in the back of sorts.
More signs of repaint there, right in the tailgate jam, for lack of a better term, with that. You know, it's got a tailgate or a tailgate cover. It's got a bed cover,
Bed liner.
a bed liner. So you know It might be hiding something really scary and rusty underneath, or maybe it is completely and totally mint.
Minnesota is rust right there. And then now that seeing from this, it looks like there could be a dent right here, as well as I see some crunch marks right there.
And what are those crunch marks from? If you
Probably backing into a trailer.
There you go. So you get that trailer a little bit too far to
Oh,
one side. We got something going on. Ooh, we got loose wiring. This is always an exciting treat. So, A, either there's random wire craziness going on, or B, sometimes you will see some kind of accessories that somebody had before they turned it in to the insurance company. Maybe they just snipped and took out the tack or their gauges or whatever. Do I see pedal covers there? Am I imagining that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is a race cars, what this is. I see a giant tack. Help me understand. I see pedals. I see all kinds of more stickers going on here. I don't even know how we could pass on this. I mean, we need to keep track and see when the sale is. According to the website, it just says in the future. So we need to make sure we mark our calendars accordingly. You do have these great, late 80s, early 90s dash on Chevrolets. I know we've had in the family, it was either 89 or 91 full-size Silverado that a grandfather had. And the gauges were, they reminded me of old late 60s Lincoln gauges where it was just kind of like a white line, and that change, it filled up as you went faster or slower. This has a green light. I don't know if green means go, but it is 100% ready to do what needs to be done, so we're happy with that. I have to get gas. Fuel's getting a little cheaper now, but still, that is a positive, in my opinion, right there. There you go. More red inside sheet metal going on here, so I think we're right along pretty accurate with that. This was most likely a repaint job here. I don't remember exactly what seats these would have had, if it would have been like the buckets mounted on the side like some Ford Rangers had, or a really teeny tiny bench that maybe a small child or perhaps a puppy could sit on. Not completely sure with that. Looking forward to seeing under the hood, and oh my goodness, the holy grail of hot rod is there. What do you see going on right here?
I see probably the greatest addition to horsepower and fuel economy known to the modern world, the lid flip.
We have a lid flip going on here, ladies and gentlemen. So not only is this 2.8 V6 ready to just get the work done, but now with this additional airflow and additional HPs, nothing is going to stop us now. Just real quick under the hood, I don't see anything too crazy or sketchy. I see probably a new alternator, a recent alternator put on there. I don't see anything that looks tore up, beat up, or destroyed. Of course, these years had a hydraulic clutch, so you got your clutch reservoir right there. We see some kind of extra wiring action going on here and there, maybe. But then again, if we had aftermarket tech on the hood, maybe they ran an extra line to the distributor back here. So
the under hood light does appear to be working, which a lot of our vehicles from around these years do not work anymore.
Yeah, the wire rust away, and you just learn to deal with it. That's okay. Getting up here in the front, having spent some time putting some smashed front end vehicles back together, it can be entertaining to get things lined up the right way, but it looks like the hood latch, the mechanism is kind of sort of still mostly straight. I do see some kind of bend action below it, so not really sure what's going on with that. You know what? They throw a spare tire in for free. So this is a deal we probably can't pass. And there is our VIN, and yes, we know it was made in 03 of 91. So scanning back to these pictures, the question comes down to, do we let this rust away in our backyard? Is it worth putting a bid on it, hoping to take it home? Or can it go to someone else's backyard to rust away? What are your thoughts on that, dear sir?
I'm not the biggest fan of the V6s from these years. They're not bad, but also with the unforeseen add-ons here and there that people have done, the wiring could be an issue, which old cars messing around with wiring is very annoying, as well as it might have some deeper damage in the front end that's unseen, and it doesn't appear to be super clean, but we can make that work with just a few quick products from some certain company based in Eagan, Minnesota.
Very, very true. A little spritz of this and spray of that might help it clean up. For me, if the frame was straight, it might be interesting to put a bid on, mainly because these frames fit relatively well under older vehicles. Old hot rods and rat rod frames work well. You get independent front suspension, disc brakes. You got a real common Chevy 10 bolt in the back that could be built up a little bit. So if it was cheap, might be interesting. If not, we're going to let it rust away in someone else's backyard. With that being said, thank you much. Welcome and thank you for hanging out here at Minnesota is Rust Rusty Deals number 2. We'll see you soon.
Minnesota's Rust at youtube.com. Subscribe and like.
Thank you.